What is the size of a football field and can travel at 60 miles an hour? Don't go away and I'll tell you.
Hello, it's Frank again. I've been with you all the way. Imagination is fun when it's free to run. Come on, we paint this a brand new day. Simply painting with Frank today.
Welcome everyone once again to Simply Painting. Well, where was I? Believe it or not, I'm on a ferry. This is the biggest, fastest ferry in the world, and I'm travelling from Belfast across to Stranraer in Scotland. And what we're going to do when we get there is we're going to find some pictures for you to paint. But my goodness, look at this, Star Wars, isn't it? Imagine 60 miles an hour with something as big as a football field. Anyway, let's talk to the captain for a few moments, if we may. Captain, just tell us a bit about this. Is a jet-engined craft.
This is a gas turbine jet propelled craft. It's the biggest, fastest craft in the world. She's powered by GEC gas turbines, two of which are equivalent to the jumbo jet engine.
Really?
Yeah, and two smaller engines which are equivalent to the to what the stealth bomber would use.
Honestly.
Yeah. And the total output of power between all four would be 100,000 horsepower.
Well, there's certainly been amazing advances in shipping, hasn't it?
Oh yes, yes. The four jets that you see at
Yes,
the rear of the craft are producing something like 300 tons of water per second.
That's a lot of water.
It's an amazing power, amazing. Yeah.
Well, listen, it was very kind of you to allow us to come up here and share this experience with the viewers. I'm amazed. That's all I can say. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Never. It is unbelievable. And I think I'll remember, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it. So thank you once again. I know you've got an important job to do, so we're going to leave you now.
Okay, enjoy the rest of the trip.
Thanks very much indeed.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're in the southwest of Scotland. We've left the ferry far behind. Last night here we stayed in a wonderful old manor house called Ladyburn. Now it's early morning, the birds are chirping, there's flowers everywhere, there's pictures everywhere, there's cattle, there's horses. I really can't make my mind up what to paint. So what I'm going to do is we'll wander around the grounds here, we'll find some pictures to take, and then back to the studio. We'll make a decision what to paint then. Might surprise you, so why don't you join me? Hello there. I just found this old picture here. I need the frame. Some guy called Renoir. Get rid of that anyway. If we don't want, we can improve on that. That was pretty not so good. Anyway, I've heard about him, you know. Apparently Renoir painted 700 pictures. Yeah. And all 70,000 of them are in America. So we'll use the frame. We can improve. Yes, of course we can. Let me tell you about what we're going to do today first. And we're going to do something a little different. First of all, we're not going to paint on white paper. We're going to paint on coloured paper. So we don't have to paint the background. Laziness, you see. Secondly, we're going to paint a pot of flowers. And the reason I picked the pot of flowers was that Ladyburn was full of them. Oh, and inside the house, everywhere you looked, there was these pots of flowers. What a good idea, I thought. Let's do one of those. So what materials do we need? Well, again, we're going to do something a little different, and that is that we're going to use 5 of the watercolours, and let me tell you what they are. There's raw sienna, there's alizarin crimson, there's cobalt blue, there's lemon yellow, and there's light red. We don't need the other 3. We're going to take them away. Now, we're going to use, and I'm going to put it down there beside us this time, the white gouache, because in fact what we're going to do is we're going to turn all those watercolours into gouache. Here's a tip for you. And rather than going out and buying a whole lot of tubes of gouache paint, we're going to use the one tube and mix it with each of the watercolours. They're compatible, if you like. Mixed media, they call it. That handy, yes. That's why I always keep a little tube of white gouache. Now, we've still got the brushes, the large goat hair, the baby goat hair, and the rigger. Now, we've something else this time. Because we're painting on dark paper, we need a pencil which is white. Now, every makeup bag has one, I'm told. If you haven't got it, you can use a black pencil, but you won't see it as well. Use the white pencil if you have one. We've got the cloths for the water control. We've got the water to mix with the paint. We've got the palette in the very same way. And as I say, we've got our little sheet of paper here, which is a bit smaller than normal. It only measures about 10 by 6 or something like that. That's what we're going to do. So without further ado, let's get at it. And this time, you have nothing to look at because we're going to do it here and you're going to follow me. I want you to get out your sheet of paper now and let's go. Well, horizon, sky, middle and foreground. Have some more fun. Doesn't change one bit because we're using this. What we need to do is we need to decide where the pot is going to be. And this time I'm going to draw a very faint, see it there, horizon line, which will represent the shelf, the window, the table, wherever it's sitting on. And then on top of that, but not in the centre, little bit to one side, left or right, don't mind which way you go. I'm kind of left-handed, so I drag everything over a bit this way. You can please yourself. I'm going to draw a pot. A potty, yes. A little potty for your flowers. Now, you know these terracotta pots, as we call them? It'll be about that size, and the bottom, very simple. Gets a little wider towards the top. There's the top of it. Now, on top of that again, with these terracotta pots, as he says, it's a lovely name, a terracotta pot, isn't it? That's the kind of the rim up on the top of it. You got that? Dead simple, isn't it? Now, I want you to figure out now where you're going to put the flowers. Now, my advice to you would be to get a vase of flowers and stick them in front of you and copy them. In this case, we don't have that because you're going to follow me. So I'm going to have to guess where to put these flowers. Let me see, I put one about there. Now, this is the centre of the flowers. See, my white pencil is marking them lovely. And I put another one, don't put them in a kind of a straight line. Another one about there. I'm going to put a top one somewhere up about there. That's nearly enough. I'll put one more there just for the sake of it. Now, that's my layout of flowers. So the first one, this one here, I'm going to do it a bit differently, actually. I'm going to make a kind of a loop with it. Raise it up a bit more. And it goes like that. This flower is sticking up in the air. Do you see it? And all little ears on it, yeah. And then this one here, there's a circle, there's a circle, there's a circle, and there's all different size circles. Do you see them? Now, these could be, you can call them rabbit's ears if you want to. You can call them, carrots if you want to. See them? I'm just going around the thing like that, just to create. Now, this one here, let's go up this way a bit with them. Once you get these in, it's like painting by numbers. Look right around till you come to the far side. I don't know how many petals are on each one of these. So that's purely and simply a matter of how many it takes to go round the thing, isn't it? Now this fella is down here. There you go. Now there's a stalk coming out, a couple of stalks coming out. That's the whole idea. We might put another kind of a stalk up there, or we put some little bits and bobs on. That's it. That's all you've got to do. Pencil away now. Now let's get at the actual painting of it. So we need to put the paint out. Well, that was some boat, wasn't it? Boat is right. It's totally enclosed. Totally. You get on as if you were getting onto an aircraft. And it sets off like a bat out of hell. Did you ever see it? 60 miles an hour. That's awful fast on the water, you know. It takes 90 minutes to travel across from Ireland to Scotland. And if you were to do it by the ordinary ferry, which I think we did last year, it takes 3¼ hours. So it halves the time. And the other ferry is no mean slouch either, I can tell you, and it's huge, but this thing was just unbelievable. It's not, I don't know what way it doesn't rise up or anything like that, it just seems to go fast. Now, cobalt blue, lemon yellow, alizarin crimson. That's fine. Where's our, there's the raw sienna, raw sienna. Have we another colour there somewhere? I should thought we had light red. There it is, yes. Must be careful now. Look at our colours. Now, they're laid out around the side again. But this time, we're going to join them with our pal, the white gouache. Now, this is a great trick for you, because it saves you having to buy tubes of white gouache. Do you know what I've got? Stick my finger. Look, I've covered it in. I've got one tube of, would you believe it, light red. And every time I pick it up, I seem to get covered in light red paint. A disobedient tube. Never mind. Just be careful of that, because next thing you put it on there and then you'll ruin the thing. Into the water. Now let's start off and let's see what we're going to start first. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start tickling in between the petals here some nice green paint. Now, how would I make up green gouache? I take some of the yellow and I take some of the blue. Not too much of the blue or you'll deaden the colour. And some of the gouache then, because that's what makes it opaque. And then we'll put a little bit of gouache there, a little bit of gouache there. Well, you can go a bit darker, I think, with that. It's a bit weak looking, isn't it? Yeah. Now, you can, if you like, of course, go down to your local art store and you can buy a whole lot of tubes of gouache paint. Nobody's stopping you. Now, I'm painting around it. You see the way I'm doing? I'm painting around these. There's nobody stopping you doing that either, but this is a lot cheaper. See, little dabs here and there. I'm just filling in, because the pot is full of nice bits of green foliage, yes. And then it goes down there a little bit and down there, putting it. Now you see, it shows up because, of course, the thing is dark. Isn't it a clever idea? Now this side is the bright side, we're going to call it. And therefore the far side will be the dark side, you got it. You're getting cute now, aren't you? So we'll come down there with darker colours, you see. Now I'm beginning to like that. Now what our next move will be now is that we'll run the hairdryer on it. He's not, no, he's not extinct on this occasion, not at all. Not on your Nelly. Now let's get the hairdryer out. There we go. All righty. Now the next move is, and I'm going to start putting in all these petals, because I don't want to dirty my white gouache until I have to, and therefore I'm going to use it first. Do you understand that? Always start off and paint with the whitest colours you can when you're painting with the gouache, when you only have the one tube, because as I mix these all together, I could inadvertently darken it, couldn't I? With some nice... Now, look, these are daisies. Daisy, daisy, give me your answer, do. Anyway, there was other things in Ladybourne we got to talk about. There was lovely bluebells. Oh, they were gorgeous. And there was... Did you see the horses? Well, now, I might surprise you with those horses. Let's see how we get on here. It all depends on how fast we get this done. So, if you speed along there with me. Now, there's nothing to stop you doing this with any form of medium. You know what medium means? You can rush to the garage and get a can of paint out of it and bring it in, and you can do this. Ordinary household paint. You wouldn't be the first artist that did it, I can tell you. Now what I'm doing is, I'm filling in all the little petals. Yes, petals on the daisies. This, actually, I use this. I'll tell you a secret about this. I use this in class. When I'm getting a bit tired, now and again I get tired talking. You wouldn't believe it. Peggy says I never get tired talking, but I do now and again. This is what I get people doing, painting petals, because do you know why? It keeps them quiet, and they're so absorbed with the painting of the petals that they spend ages and ages at it, and I can leave them there as long as I like. Mean of me, isn't it? It gives me a little rest, yeah. Now you see, I'm coming on down. Now you see, I'm painting now where the green was and everything else. See the idea? Oh, and behold. Isn't this very simple? So simple. There we go. Now I'll put the centres of the daisies and everything in a minute, don't you worry. We're going on at high speed here. Now, there's a big one. Now you could vary the colours. You could put a pink, you know, you could put a pansy, what do you call it, or oh, I don't know what they call it. There's all these different flowers and things. I'm not very well up. I'm not a flower painter an awful lot because I'm a landscape artist. I think I do paint flowers in landscape and I do enjoy painting the odd bowl of flowers like this, but I wouldn't be I wouldn't be classed as a flower painter. There are people who specialise in these things, isn't there? See where the daisies are all beginning to come to life now? Yeah, hey, we just missed a couple there, didn't we? But you could put some chrysanthemums and tulips and all kinds of. Now look at that. Clean off. Now let's get some of this raw sienna here. And a tiny bit of the. See, I keep using the gouache in it all because you'll see why in a minute. It actually, these are the stalks on the flowers. Can you see them? And then we get a little bit more of the raw sienna. Now you see the way I'm now beginning to eat into the gouache. Now this is a kind of an ear of corn or something like that. You know these little. See the idea? Yeah. I'm leaning back and I'm going to wee look at this thing every so often because it's necessary to do so. Now, let's get a little bit of the light red and a bit of the raw sienna. Mix those two together with some gouache. This gives us the centre of the daisies. Yeah. Now, you'll notice the other thing is that I'm using the baby brush here, the rigger, isn't it? Not the baby goat hair, the rigger, an awful lot, haven't I? Because this is what you need to do for flowers. You don't really need the big brush for these when you start doing these fellas, unless you came down to the pot. Now we'll highlight them in a minute. Don't worry. Look at that. Ah, they're all coming along nicely now, aren't they? It's good fun, this. You know, begin to enjoy it now. Yeah, I was giving out about it when I started. Flowers. Now, as soon as we get some of this thing done, we'll knock back in and we'll show you how to do some nice. Now I'm going to put a few more little dabs of. See that? These are little dabs of green. Yes. Just to make the bowl look a little bit more lively, if you like. I'm taking some of the blue and some of the alizarin crimson, mixing the two of them together to give me a nice darkish colour. I just want to outline one side of these. See? Because I did say the light was coming the other way, didn't I? Like that. Hey, this is coming on well, isn't it? Now back to the white again. Put a little dab there, just to bring a little bit of light to the centre of my daisies. You see them? Just a little tiny dab of the white there and there. It's just for the, you know, a glint in your eye, as the fella says. Ah, he has a bit of a glint in his eye, that fella. You know what to say that about you. It's the little white dot when you're doing portraiture. The very same thing with these. Now, I'm going to get out the slightly bigger brush now in a minute because I'm getting tired of this small one. But it's just to highlight the thing, yeah. Maybe some of that blue in there. So you keep forgetting. You can't go very dark because you won't see it, will you? See that now? Isn't that coming on nicely, huh? I'm just going to do a little bit on the. Now I've got the baby goat hair out here, and I've got the terracotta pot is the next thing. The old terracotta pot, yes. Now let's just look with the brush on. I just pull it down a couple of times just to do the main body of the pot. And what I find is take kind of a middle tone. Don't make it too dark and don't make it too light. And also, don't use too much water. Now, there we are. There's my terracotta pot coming on now, look. And the terracotta pot comes down to the bottom like that, doesn't it? Just drag it straight down. Get it fairly straight looking. And the same thing applies then up on top. We'll highlight that in a minute. Don't... Is it coming on nice? Yeah. Now, got Got a little minute to spare, so I'm going to show you something I've got to show you. I was foosting about and I figured out this thing. This is a little thing for you to do. Remember I mentioned about horses? All right. How would you draw a horse side on? The number of people who ask me that, and cows and everything else. Well, look, here's a simple way of doing it. Take a square. Now, when you're drawing a square, be careful. I do it freehand, but be careful that if you do that and that side and that side are the same length. Because on most occasions, you'll find that people are inclined to draw squares and they make them squat. They're not high enough. So you get an inelegant animal. Yes. Now, you got your square. Here's what you do. Carrot, 1. A carrot. There's a carrot. That's all it is. Now, here's a kind of I wouldn't call him a drunken carrot, but he's kind of leaning against the side of the thing. Do you see him there? He's kind of leaning a bit this way. Yeah. Okay, that's the second one. Now, the third carrot goes here, and it's sticking up like that. So now you've got 3 carrots so far. Carrot 1, carrot 2, carrot 3. Put a bend in his back. Now, this is all drawn within the square. Put a bit of a stomach on him there, right? Hey, look what's happening. Put a little carrot here. Do you see it? Put a pair of ears on him. Now, you'll have to rub out the square. And just take it a bit out there. Now, lo and behold, his tail. Becomes easy, doesn't it? And of course, we give him another leg there, just for the sake of it. Look, hey, we got a horse. Isn't that easy? So there you are. You can put a fella up on top of that, and now you got your horse. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 carrots, a little bit of a carrot down here, and that's your horse. Practice that. You'll surprise your friends. Remember, it's inside a square. There you go. So remember the lady born when we saw all the horses in the field? That's what they were like. And of course, you can move that head. If you were to put the head going down this way, he'd be grazing. Honestly, if you practice it it's like the carrot people. If you practice that, you'll be amazed how quickly you'll become a carrot person and a horse drawer. Back to the thing again now. Now let's get out my other brush again, the small brush, because I'm going to start highlighting this thing now. Now the light comes this way, so therefore this is the side. We got to highlight it. The terracotta pot. I love that name, terracotta pot. It's nice, isn't it? And then there's a bit of light hitting the top of the pot, and it's a really strong. Now take your time with this. There's no rush with it. We got ages. You can knock these things out by the dozen, you know. Just go. What you do is every time you find a Renoir or a Van Gogh or any of these guys, I mean, just take the frame, throw them away, and keep it. You know, there was a fella. This is said of an Irishman. I know it wasn't true, but that he went for the first time to see the Mona Lisa in Paris. And he was. They were trying to get a bit of culture into the fella. You know what I mean? I mean, he was a bit dim. Anyway, he went to see the place in the Louvre, which is, of course, the famous museum or art gallery in Paris. And they produced the Mona Lisa for him. They brought him in to see it. And they said, now, Pat, do you see that picture over there? Do you know how much that's worth? And he looked at it for a minute or two, like he wasn't stupid now. He was going to appraise the thing. And he turned to the fella and he said, well, would that be with or without the frame? That actually happened. So there you are. So now you know how you appraise pictures. You have to, the frame has got to come into it as well, yes. I wonder about that one of Van Gogh's that's gone to Japan somewhere where there's a small bit of difficulty as to whether he painted it at all or not. I wonder what's happening there now at the moment. Now, I'm just going to, look, I'm going to actually rub with my finger. Now I think we're nearly ready there. Now I have a white pencil. So I can do 2 things. I can put my little bird up there in the white pencil. And the other thing is, when you're signing one of these, what you do always, you sign it well up on the page. Don't be afraid. I would normally sign this. I sign it with pencil this time just for speed. But don't sign it down here. Sign it up under the pot somewhere. And we put a little bit of a... Yeah, now we're right. Now let's take this frame that we pinched. And we plant it on there. And we say to ourselves, hey, that's a lot. That's a big improvement on that Renoir. And there it is. So now look, you try this out. And as we say in Ireland, Slán Lath, from me, Frank Clark, which means goodbye. But in the meantime, have a go at it. You'll enjoy it.
For more information, visit our website at www.simplypainting.com.
Slán Lath, to you my friends, until we meet again somewhere. Send a card or two, I'll be thinking of you, and I'll be hoping we'll be back real soon. But until then, let me say, my friends, the pleasure was all the way. And if heart's in your mind, I'm not hard to find, sure we can do it again one day. Simply Painting with Frank today.